class, I'll make hand signing optional. But here's what we're going to sing. It's on the board. If you want to hand sign, Tay points down. His T goes up, Tay goes down. And May, just make the same symbol as me and just, frown or something. Right. I'm going to sing it through first, and then you guys can sing it back. It's an old folk song. You might have heard it before. It goes like this. Do, te, do, do, so. Do, do, re, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So, fa, so, mi, fa, so, mi, re, do. I think you'll have heard that or something like that before. Oh, good. You're smiling. You sung it?
Oh, no, it made me think of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
When they're singing and they're all getting hanged and stuff.
I haven't seen any of them. I know. I know. It's on my list to do. Of course, I'm not really up for hangings. I don't like violence in movies. All right, let's try that all together. Ready, 2, 3, go. Do, te, do, do, so. Do, do, re, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So, fa, so, mi, fa, so, mi, re, do. Let's do it one more time. Go. Do, te, do, do, so. Do, do, re, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So, fa, so, mi, fa, so, mi, re, do. Lovely. We're going to do this around now at 2 measures, dividing in half. This half, followed by this half. Frank, would you go ahead and open the door for us, please?
Oh, he's coming. Should I shut it?
No, who's coming? Depends.
Depends.
Oh, man, if I'd known. All right. Anywhere you can find a place.
You may have to pull up a desk.
Yeah, or sit over here. Get out of your comfort zone. Sit over here.
I'm a little worried
Gotta get here early. It's popular class.
Good. I'll make
All
sure to
right,
charge your
dividing
partially
right
later.
here. Everybody sings it through twice. Everybody sings it through twice. Starting group, just when you get to the end, don't let them sing me, re, do, alone. Just repeat me, re, do at the end, and we're all in together. Here we go. 2, ready, go. Do, te, do, do, so. Do, te, re, do, do, so. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So, fa, so, mi, fa, so. Do, re, do, so. Do, te, do, do, so. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, re. So, fa, so, mi, fa, so, mi, re, do. That just improved my day by about 100%. That was lovely. Have a seat, please. All right, what you have just experienced is something we call counterpoint. Has anybody ever heard the word counterpoint before?
In the corner.
Anybody want to take a, huh?
Ron raised his hand.
Who raised his hand?
Ron.
Oh, Ron.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very good.
Okay, I guess I don't have peripheral vision today. Have you heard the word counterpoint before?
I have.
What can you tell me about it?
It's very complex and annoying to me, but it's something we need to learn for theory.
It's very complex and annoying, but something we need to learn for theory. Okay. I think as we learn counterpoint, you're going to find it annoying, but not very complex. In fact, you might find it annoying in its tediousness.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Boy, I'm really selling it here, aren't I? All right, counterpoint, and you can read all about this in your textbook if you like, but counterpoint is the interaction between the vertical and the horizontal in music. So, experienced counterpoint. The horizontal part being this lovely melody we just sang. Do, te, do, do, so, do, do, do. That's a nice little tune, right? And that melody is made up of horizontal intervals, or what we might call melodic intervals. So the horizontal part, we say that's melodic because it's part of melody. Right? The vertical part are the intervals created between the two parts, or the harmonic intervals. Oh, sorry, we're in E minor. So the interaction between those two things, the fact that those two things work at the same time, and there's a little bit of magic that happens, that's what we call counterpoint. So vertical, that's the harmonic intervals. The horizontal are the melodic intervals. Am I making sense so far? Okay. So over the next few weeks, we are going to learn how to create a pleasing horizontal or melodic line, while at the same time creating pleasing sounds vertically with a given line. And that's what counterpoint is. Fair warning, there will be rules. Just trust me on the rules. The rules are to help you make the music sound something like what I just played, rather than something like that, right? Which would definitely not work. Might be your cup of tea, it's not mine. All right. Anybody like that version better? Yeah, I knew you would. Okay. Let's take a look in your book on page 193.
The day I leave my book at home. Didn't fit in the book.
We're going to sing some more. That excites me. If you don't have your book, well, too bad for you, but you can look up here. So, people watching this on video, we are being video recorded today. Thank you, Rebecca. Are you making me look good over there?
Trying.
Awesome. Because the 9 o'clock was canceled because my little mishap, we're recording today. So you can go back and watch this if you like. Folks watching the recording, just follow along in your textbook. You might not be able to see the screen. All right, I want everybody to sing the bottom line. Now, if this had been a homework assignment, you might have received the bottom line as the given, and then you would provide the top line. It's already been done for you here. The bottom line is called the cantus firmus. It's nothing you need to know for a test. It's in your book, so I'm not going to write it down. That is Latin for fixed voice or given voice. That's the thing that you have to work with and you can't change. The counterpoint is what you, or in this case the authors of the book, have added above that. We're going to start with counterpoint above the cantus firmus, and then when we get really good at it, we'll move on to counterpoint below, which is a little bit harder. So let's look at each of the lines separately. First, we're going to sing the cantus firmus first. So you can follow along on the screen, or you can follow along in your book. Let's sing it in solfege, bottom line, and it's in bass clef. And I'm just going to give one beat per whole note. We're not going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just one beat per note. All right, here we go in your own range. Bottom line. Ready? Go. Do, re, mi, do, si, do, sol, mi, do, re, do. Yeah, if you have the text, it's 193. It's 190. So am I right? 193? It's 173. You sure? Yeah. Okay, I must have typoed. 173. Let's take a look at that and see if it works. Oh, great, that's it. So folks at home, 173 in your book is where we're following along here. I'll make this a little bit bigger on the screen as well. Maybe a little more in focus. Anybody want to come up with some adjectives to describe what we just sang? We're going to kind of extrapolate our rules from from the style that you see here. What can you tell me about this bottom line? Ooh, not much, huh? Rachel, what can you tell me about the bottom line that we just sang? Be brutally honest.
It's major.
Okay, it's major. It's in a major key. All right. That is a fact. How about an opinion? What did you think of it?
Kind of boring.
Kind of boring. Excellent. Okay. The boringness of it makes it easy to sing. All right. So we want to really think about writing kind of not very exciting lines of music. You can write exciting lines of music on your own time and do your own thing with that. But for counterpoint, we're going to start off with some very kind of boring lines of music, because what we want is really not boring, but typical. You know, it's not going to set the world on fire, but it kind of sounds like music. Sounds like it could be a tune we know. How about the melodic intervals, the horizontal motion? Is it very exciting? No. It's mostly seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, mostly what kind of interval? Well, give me a number, not a quality. Seconds, yeah, it's mostly steps. Right, so you see they've labeled the steps for you. There's steps here, there's steps here, there's steps here. All right? And we distinguish, or the book distinguishes, between three kinds of motion: a step, a skip, and a leap. And a step is a second. And by the way, with intervals, we're only going to deal with major and minor intervals. Right now, no, wait a minute. Back up the truck, that's not what I meant to say. We're only going to deal with numerical intervals right now, because all the notes are in the key, right? No chromatic notes here. So we don't have to say major, second, major, third, minor, third. We just say it's a third, and it happens to be the third that is the note in the key of F major. That's easier for you. So we're really only thinking about numbers right now. So a step is the interval of a second, major or minor second. Now a skip and a leap, when I was your age, a skip and a leap was the same thing. But Betsy and Jane here in this book, they distinguish between skip and leap. So I might make a mistake and use them interchangeably. But according to them, a skip is a third. Right? A skip is an interval of a third, and a leap is a fourth or larger. I'll just say 4 or more. So mostly steps, a couple of skips, and fewer leaps. In other words, the larger the interval, the less often it should be used. Okay? The larger the interval, the less often it should be used. So, small intervals. Right? We like small intervals. Large intervals, less. What is the effect of making a large leap in music? You know, we could go like this. Something like, oh, I don't know. Right? That's a skip. That's a skip. A leap of a fourth, and steps. Rather soothing, right? But what if we take something like this? Two large leaps. Oops. Forgot what key I was in. We have an octave leap there, we have a sixth leap, we have another sixth leap. What is the effect of that leap? Carrie?
I was going to say like dramatic.
Oh, that's the exact word I was looking for. And no, I did not plant that in her head. She came up with it on her own. Thank you. It's more dramatic. It creates a little drama, creates maybe a little more tension. And notice what happens after a leap. I'll play that little tune again. Would we balance it? Right? After a large leap up, we come back down. And then for the next leap as well. it just seems right to resolve that drama with a step in the other direction. Same here. So balanced leaps, that's something else that melody, that this melody has. If we go back and sing that bottom line again, you'll notice that the leap of the fifth is balanced in the other direction. They don't step down, they do skip down. But it's still balanced. We don't leap and then keep going up. We leap and then we float back down. Okay, let's sing this again, do, re, mi, do, etc. Ready, go. Do, re, mi, do, so. No, that's la. Do, re, mi, do, la. I know. We've been hitting the tonic triad really hard in loud, right? So you want to sing mi, do, so. You're human, I understand. Mi, do, la, please, now that you know what it is. Ready, go. Do, re, mi, do, la, re, do, so, mi, do, re, do. Lovely. So we have the leap here and balance. And balance after the leap. Anything else I want to say about that? Oh, where's the highest note? The bottom line, where is the highest note? Give me a measure number or just tell me the note name. Natasha, where's the highest note? Okay, can you see the screen?
It's the so.
It's the so, yeah. So it's the so. How many times does that note occur? Once. So we have a unique high point, right? The highest note only happens once. You will find that with most melodies that you encounter in your life that are just kind of typical good melodies. So a unique high point. Unique high point or climax, if you will. And notice that this isn't kind of a hard and fast rule, but it happens. It happens about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through. And if you think of any typical song, that's almost always where the high point happens. Anybody have a birthday today?
Mine's Saturday.
Mine's Saturday too.
Really?
February 8th?
Yeah.
Awesome sauce.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're birthday buddies. I'm probably going to be
love what
twice
she
your
said.
age. How fair.
I love what you said.
Awesome. Anybody else on February 8th? All right, I'm going to play this for Lainey and me. By the way, leap of a fourth and back down. Leap of a fifth, back down. And now the high note only happens once. Leap of an octave and back down. Leap of a sixth and back down. But about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through, there's the high point of the melody, right? So that's kind of another thing that you want to keep in mind when you write your counterpoint. So all of these that I've just listed are really horizontal considerations. When you write your melody, this is how you want the horizontal to go. Let's look at what intervals we move by. All right? I talked about small intervals, large intervals, but if you analyze the horizontal intervals here, the melodic intervals, looks like we have, sorry, we're on the bottom part. Step up, third down, step up, fifth up, third down, step up, step down. And I said larger intervals are more rare, smaller intervals are better. Dissonant intervals you don't want to use at all. In other words, you don't want to leap by a seventh, not in this style. It happens in music sometimes, but it took a while to be accepted. Right? There's a leap of a seventh. By the way, it's balanced by stepwise motion in the other direction as well. So if we take this idea of melodic intervals, we would say that the intervals you want to use, minor seconds and major seconds the most, Minor thirds, major thirds, a little more. Perfect fourths, perfect fifths are fine. Major minor sixth, good. Perfect octave, that's good. But just keep in mind that these are, use these more, and as you go down the list, use the sixth and the octaves less, right? Sorry for those who are writing it down. Will this help? A little bit? Here, I'll put it on this side. Here, let's have a do-over. So, major minor seconds, major minor thirds, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major minor sixth, perfect octave. And we're going less, no, more to less. Thank you. I'm still a little shaken. Still a little shaken. It was one of those situations where it was a card from out of nowhere. Not a scratch on me, though. That's good. All right, so use the smaller intervals more, the larger intervals less. Don't use dissonant intervals. So, major minor sevenths, which are dissonant, no. All right? Don't use those melodically. Don't use them harmonically either. All right? Augmented and diminished intervals. Any augmented and diminished intervals? No. All right? All of these rules, yes, I told you there would be rules. All these rules are in your textbook. So if you're not writing them down, make sure you look in the book because there they are. All right, let's look at the top line. We have, just in case you don't have your book and can't see it, and I'm not yelling at you for not bringing your book, even though most of you didn't, because the darn thing is heavy. I know it's heavy. All right? But make sure you refer to it when you get home. Let's sing the top line, which is the counterpoint, and then we'll put them together, and that'll be very exciting. Top line, do, ti, sol, la, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, ti, do. Here we go. Do,
Re, sol, la, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, ti, do.
mi, ti, do is a little weird. I don't like that, but let's work with it. Stand up, please. Everybody sing that top line again. And then we're going to have ladies and gentlemen divide. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Everybody on the top line, please. Ready, go.
Do, ti, sol, la, do, re, do, ti, do, mi, ti, do.
Lovely. Okay. Just to refresh your memory, everybody on the bottom line again. Do, re, mi, etc. Ready, go.
Do, re, mi, do, la, ti, do, sol, mi, do, re, do.
Lovely. Gentlemen on the bottom line, ladies on the top line. Ready, go.
Do, re, mi, do, la, ti, do, sol, mi, do, re, do.
Okay, it's not going to set the world on fire, but it sounds like music, right? Let's do it one more time. That's so pretty. See if you can do it without the piano. Ready, go.
Do, re, mi, do, la, ti, do, sol, mi, do, re, do.
Right, have a seat. So these rules that we're looking at, they're merely meant to help you write things at a very beginning level that sound like music, that sound like kind of normal tonal music. All right, and that's where we begin. If you make it all the way through to Theory 4 and I see you again, then we're going to write some outlandish, crazy things. But for now, we're going to stay boring. Or I have a friend who says, would you write counterpoint that you should always be, this is the word of the day, I wish I had it up, you should always be borect. If it's boring, it's probably correct. So it's borect. And she will say, borect is beautiful. So that's our mantra, borect is beautiful. All right, let's talk about the harmonic intervals, the intervals that occur vertically. And you'll notice that there are numbers written in here. Again, when you do your counterpoint, I'll ask you to label all of the intervals. And the numbers, they don't have to be qualities, just numbers of intervals. All right, so we have 8, 6, 3, 6, 3, 3, 8, 3, 6, 3, 6, 8. All right. Notice that if you look at measure 5 is a good example. That's an octave and a third, so it's technically a tenth. You can just call it a third. All right, so an octave and a third can be equivalent to just a third. For example, is there a real third? Yeah, measure 8, there's a real third, C to E. So we call this a third in measure 8. If it's an octave and a third, like in measure 5, we still call it a third, even though it's a tenth. All right, so we have sixths and thirds and eighths, octaves. Right? What can you say about all those vertical intervals? Or about those intervals in general? For example, here's a third, a harmonic third. Here's a sixth. Here's an octave. And we don't have one in this counterpoint, but just in case we did, here's a fifth. So your numbers, the numbers that you should remember are 8, 6, 5, 3, and also, by the way, 1, a unison. They say you in the book. So, again, here's a unison. Here's a sixth. Here's a fifth. Here's a third. And now I'm going to play some other intervals that are on that list. Here's a second. Here's a seventh. And here's a fourth. Anybody want to tell me why we want to stick with the intervals on the list?
No dissonance?
No dissonance, yeah. These are consonant intervals. And I'm talking about harmonic intervals here. These are harmonic, consonant harmonic intervals. So we're now in vertical land. We're talking about vertical. And I'm just going to say use these. They're the same intervals that we're allowed to leap by, mainly. And then the leftover intervals, the second, fourth, and seventh. Second, fourth, and seventh, don't use those. The one exception here is the perfect fourth, which you can use melodically, but not harmonically. And then also, please don't use any augmented or diminished intervals. Those are basically off the table. Those are kind of hairy and thorny anyway, and we don't really like them. All right. Let's talk about the motion between the two voices. And let me ask you, just look at me for a second. This is going to be a multiple choice question. I'll make sure everybody can see. Do the voices go mostly like this? Or do the voices go mostly like this? Letter B, door number 2, all right? To draw it, do the voices go like that? No. Do the voices go like this? Yes. This, I'll be doing this a lot. That's what it means. What that means is contrary motion. We want the voices mostly in contrary motion. And you notice that with the canon we sang, there's quite a bit of contrary motion. Now the second voice is going to come in and go downwards, bum, bum, right? But the first voice is going to continue upwards. Right? There's a fourth we're not supposed to do, but oh well. Make sense? So, contrary motion is what we call that. This is contrary motion. Here, I'll put it in another dimension. This is contrary motion. Right. This is similar motion. And we want contrary motion to prevail. Any thoughts on why contrary motion should prevail? So we don't really... That's kind of cool, but it's not exactly what we're going for. This is kind of a subjective thing. Gives it more depth. Yeah, Ashley, what did you say? It's more interesting. I agree with both of those things. There is a more objective thing that sort of it does, and that is it helps us know that there are two independent lines. It seals the fact that there are two independent horizontal lines, two people singing two different things, rather than just chords, which sort of sound like just one thing. Right? That sort of, if everything moves in similar motion, it sort of sounds like just one big blocky thing. But remember, we want a cooperation between the vertical and horizontal. So with contrary motion, we have the sense that there are really two independent horizontal lines happening. Make sense? All right. So contrary motion is your friend. Let's look at another one of these. I wouldn't mind if you went back and read the first few pages of this chapter. Oh, by the way, you will hear this called first species counterpoint. I'm going to erase this since we don't have another class coming in. And as a whole, you will hear this called species counterpoint. It has nothing to do with the animal kingdom. Some folks have sneeringly called it specious counterpoint in terms of it, it's irrelevant to anything. But species counterpoint, species just means the proportion of complexity of counterpoint that you write to a given line. First species, which is what we're studying now, is one note for every given note. Second species is 2 notes per given note. Third is 3 or 4. Fourth and fifth are something completely different. So this is first species, which basically means 1 to 1. One note for every given note. Looks like we have a little minor thing going on here. Here's the bottom line. We're on 173. 175, I meant. 74, I meant. Example 9.2. Let's look at the bottom line first. Cantus firmus, it goes like this. Do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Lots of steps. Lots more steps than skips or leaps. All right? Notice there is a leap of a fifth in the beginning, and it is very much balanced all the way down by a scale. Let's sing that, please. Sit up nice and straight. Both feet on the floor. I've had a crappy morning, too. All right. Here we go with the cantus firmus, bottom line. Ready? Go. Do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, re, do. Easy. Now, the top line, notice, remember it's me, lay, and te if there are no accidentals, but we have a ti, do at the end. So it goes like this. You can sing it up high, or you can sing it down low. I think I'm gonna go with down low today. Do, de, re, do, re, mi, do, ti, do. Everybody sing that. You can sing it up here. Anywhere you like. Top line. Ready, go. Do, ti, re, do, re, mi, do, ti, do. All right. Let's have the ladies on the top line, gentlemen on the bottom line. Ready? Go.
Do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, re, do.
Lovely. Does this conform to the guidelines that we've set out so far? Yeah, it pretty much does. Unique high point in the bass part, even though it is close to the beginning, there's a unique high point in the top part near the end. Okay? Sixths and thirds, they call this one a tenth. I don't know why they do it here and not the other place, but there it is. A tenth is the same as a third. In minor, we use the leading tone at the end. Right? Avoid leaping by an augmented second. So avoid going lay, ti, do as if you were in harmonic minor. So none of this. You notice here they get around it by just going do, ti, do at the end. Right? Mostly, very much contrary motion. I think all contrary motion. Yeah, look, the whole darn thing is like this. Right? And that just makes it work nicely. Any other observations about this? All right, that's fine. So in minor, we're always going to use the leading tone at the end. How many people have your workbook? Workbook, I see some. I think I see some. Take it out if you have it. I'm going to give you a penny. It wasn't the penny I thought I was going to give you. Because on top of everything else, I'm still having a little trouble with Blackboard and Note Flight. Still don't like each other. So if you would please. We're going to look at page 95, assignment 9.1. For your penny, for Thursday, I would like you to do all of assignment 9.1, meaning page 95 and 96, but you can stop before part 2. You don't have to do Roman numeral 2, evaluating counterpoint. You don't need to write me an essay. You don't want to write it and I don't want to read it, okay? You don't
No,
want to read it.
I don't want to read it.
Yeah. So 9.1, which is on 95 and 96. I don't have a picture of this one.
Actually, that's just to say.
I can make a picture of this one really quickly. Where did oh, my phone's in my pocket. Somebody have this open to their workbook.
I have it right here.
Awesome sauce. Oh, you photocopied it, great.
No, I pulled it out.
You pulled it out. Oh, you pulled it out. Great, either way.
But you can't take a picture of
You can
hers because
keep
it
your
has the
notes,
answers.
Absolutely. So this should appear magically like
Yes, but
very
then
soon. The internet is an amazing thing.
whenever it comes to this stuff, it would be obvious though, because with counterpoint, there's multiple right answers.
Counterpoint has multiple right answers, yes it
Yeah.
does. Ah, 22 seconds ago, look at that. That is freaking
For some of it, it
amazing.
would, but for the counterpoint, it would be
Thank
really
you.
difficult too.
Ah, amazing. All right. So, what you're going to do is label the intervals between the staves. Just follow their directions pretty much to the letter. I had a more interesting assignment for you, but then Blackboard kind of blew up. And then I crashed my car. So we're gonna go with this instead. We're gonna label the intervals, and remember, if it's a compound interval, you can use just the simple interval equivalent. So we have C to C, those are the same middle C, so it's unison, right? You can say U or you can say one, we are bilingual here. Right? Now we have B to G, and by the way, it would be really helpful if you just sit down with the piano and played it, because that will help you hear the style, and then you can also kind of count the intervals. So B to G is what interval?
6.
It's a sixth. And then we have another sixth, etc. So you'll label the intervals all the way through. It's not going to take you very long at all. And remember, with a penny assignment, we only want to see that you've done it. Okay? And then what do they want you to do? Mark with a bracket any skip or leap. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to mark with a bracket. I want you to follow that bullet. But then the second 3 bullets in the chart below, I think that's kind of dumb. So you don't have to tell me measures 1 and 2 in the cantus firmus, it's a leap, and then a step in the other part and contrary motion. Right, so a leap plus a step plus contrary. You can probably see that without writing it down. So you don't have to do these 3 bullets. So just write in the music. Right? So label your intervals. I started it for you. And the other thing I would like for you to do is label any leaps with that interval number. So instead of just saying leap here from 1 to 2, just say leap by a fifth. Right? I mean, I know it's a leap. You can see it's a leap. But